coverage. This, to me, if he's doing what I'm thinking he's doing, this is unreal. To me, this is unreal if he's doing what I'm thinking he's doing. I would call this that trick play. Here's why. Watch how Goff takes a snap. So what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another all-22 look at this Lions-Bucs game. And today, we are moving to the offensive side of the ball. Now, this was not a perfect game for the offense, only scoring 20 points. 3 of those points came off a very short field where we basically went 3 and out, kicked a field goal. That was 3 of our 20 points. However, there was a lot of good, specifically in the pass game. I thought there was a lot of creativity with what the Lions did offensively, utilizing stacks and bunches offensively, as well as the same personnel, heavy personnel that we've talked about the last few weeks to kind of get the defense to match personnel and also limit what they could do in coverage. Coming into this game, I thought Tampa Bay, one of the best coverage teams in football, specifically zone coverage. They were one of the best in the league, and they played that over 70% of the time. So for the Lions, the ability to utilize some of that heavy personnel, limit some of the movement that they could have pre to post snap with the safeties and multiple defensive backs on the field by matching certain personnel, having success on early downs, passing the football. Also defensively, I thought coming into this one, Tampa Bay was more of an average run defense, and you would see teams like Philly, of course, but also New Orleans. You would see teams have success rushing the football. Lions didn't really get that going in this game. There were positive runs in there, but we didn't get a big run, which was the biggest thing, and not having Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, was huge. I think there were times where you would watch and you're like, man, it actually wasn't blocked up too bad, but on the backside, those edge defenders are just crashing down, and they would make plays in the backfield, or a slot corner would come off the backside, or a safety, and we wouldn't be able to get through the line of scrimmage that we were trying to create a lane because the backside would bring us down. We just didn't have kind of that juice there, and I think you saw it early when they put Khalif Raymond at running back, right? They were trying to get some speed back there, but they didn't really have it in this game. So I think Gibbs could have been very crucial for us in this one. And also there was kind of just a mix of sometimes we just missed blocks up front as well. They're always a little bit different. The Lions try to utilize some misdirection. I thought the linebackers for Tampa Bay played pretty darn well, but the point is we had to lean a little bit into the passing game, and the passing game was very successful for a lot of different reasons. The third down conversions, the success on early downs, the mixture, and then also things like this, all right? We talked about Carolina before that game and how they like to utilize the screens as kind of an expansion of the run game. That's sort of what it felt like in this game, because while we didn't have a big run, we had 2 big screens, really like 2 or 3 big screens, actually, now I'm thinking about it, that we set up in this game. A couple of tunnel looks, and then also a running back screen. Like, that was sort of an extension of what we did in the run game, which even though they don't go as rushing stats, they were big-time plays, so it kind of works out the same way. First play that we're going to take a look at, I'm going to kind of start off with some, just little things that I'm looking for here, and then we'll work our way through this, some of the key plays that I took away from into this game, just some of the things that stood out to me as usual. But the first thing that I want to point out, and I know it's like super darn basic and we see this all the time, every single game that we watch, but I'm going to point it out because it's going to become important later as we're watching this. Just watch the way that Jared Goff takes a snap. Let's just start there. That's it. Just look how he does it. You can't hear the cadence, of course, with the all-22, but just watch the style at which he takes the snap. Okay, so we see that. Just keep that in your mind, because later in the game, that's actually going to come very important. But what I wanted to point out here, first off, a 3-by-1 look to start things off. Now, if you notice, personnel-wise, this is the first play of the game. Personnel-wise for the Lions, look at what they're in. We've talked about the slot, early downs, 12 personnel, 1 tight end, 2 tight ends back. So now, again, defensively, personnel-wise, they're going to be forced to basically match that, or you're going to feel like you can run the ball. So in this case, again, you have your edge rusher here, Shaq Barrett. You have a linebacker, and you got 4 guys across the front. So you're limiting the defensive backs that they can put on the field, which can also limit, I think, the coverage variation that they can give you defensively. Also, if you're doing it on early downs, I think you can kind of limit that as well. When it's 3rd down and 10, now it's like, hold up, anything could be thrown out there. But they were able to limit some of those things by some of the success on early downs. And again, utilizing the screens is kind of an expansion of the run game. And in this case, you notice the stack here with St. Brown. He's going to run this little tunnel route. Now, the stacks were very important for multiple reasons to me. It was the ability to, at times, try to create leverage, rub routes and man coverage, or also little zone openings, maybe get guys free off the line of scrimmage. We'll take a look at it. I thought that was like a key from this game. We always talk about receivers beating man coverage, but how about just finding holes in zone? Like they put on a show, I think, in this game as the receiving core. Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond. This first play that we're going to take a look at. First thing I'm thinking when I'm looking at this, immediately this is zone coverage. Why? I'm thinking it's zone coverage because if you look at who they're matching on who, first off, they're not matching anybody on this stack if we're being honest here, okay? They have 3 guys over there. They have a slot defender in Shaq Barrett, but he's their edge defender. defender, and he's not on top of either one of these receivers. So you would assume that he's not manning this up. We know they like to play a lot of cover 3. Safety is also rolled down into the slot here. Late on this play, you're going to see Devin White. He's going to roll over top. So they're still going to try to give you a disguised look, but their disguised look to me isn't as much of what they're doing in coverage because the safety's not going to drop out. They would do that still occasionally, but it's more so just who is going to rush on the play. One thing we know about them playing cover 3, they like to blitz out of it, and that's exactly what you get right here. So the edge defender late is going to work to the line. He's going to rush, but they're also going to bring Devin White as well as a blitzer, which really helps set this thing up. And then Penei Sewell's going to sell it. Boom, that 45-degree, then get upfield, set up a block, and Josh Reynolds, Penei Sewell's blocking. All right, the blocking has been key, downfield, second level, those kind of things, and I think that was just another showcase of that right here on this play. But again, just talk about a little bit of expansion of the run game. I think this is a good example to kind of get this thing started with. But also, like I said, you do get the sense that it's zone coverage, because if we go to the next play, I'll let this play out, but if you go to the next play, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Again, I like the 3-by-1 looks because I thought it could give you some tells, especially when you're using the heavy personnel. So look at this, all right? Same possession. Look at what the lines are in. 12 personnel. Boom, tight end, boom, running back. Okay, so they got the heavy personnel. Again, defensively, they're going to match that. So if you notice, 5 guys across the front, 2 off-ball linebackers, and you have 4 defensive back, 2 safeties, 2 corners. Now, here's the key to this, to me. You can immediately, to me, recognize, first off, that this is probably man coverage. Why? The safety is lined out wide with the tight end. The last play, if you take a look, who's lined out wide with the tight end? Your cornerback. So it's probably going to be zone coverage there. Here, the safety's aligned wide with the tight end. So you're thinking, to me, you're thinking man coverage. Also, you can see how they attack kind of the stack look. They're playing at different depths. That way they don't have to necessarily switch, for example, if they try to switch release offensively. But it also can give a free release to St. Brown, who's ever behind on that stack look as well. So there is that aspect of it. But again, also defensively, when you're doing this, you can see they have 7 guys in the box. So yes, it can limit maybe some of their creativity, but also what it can do is say, hey, if you want to drop out and play a normal coverage in terms of you're not blitzing, one of your edge defenders are going to have to be asked to go play in coverage. And I thought that was the key in this one. We saw coming into this one, teams were inconsistent at attacking when they would go, say, quarters coverage and drop out 4. And it was like, oh, they're only bringing 3 rushers. It was like, hey, we got to just take the easy things and keep the chains moving. We have to get positives in the passing game on early downs. And I thought the Lions did an excellent job. I thought they excelled there. It naturally kind of creates outside leverage here for Sam Laporta to run this corner route, which is ran extremely well. By the way, top of the route, it's nasty, but it creates naturally outside leverage because of the fact that this Joe Tryon Shoyinka, I think that's how you say his name, he's going to rush off the edge. So if he mans up this running back, maybe you get a cover 1 and you have an off-ball linebacker that's playing zone. But in this case, he's going to rush. So you're getting a blitz, which means that someone's got to pick up the running back, which means that the outside linebacker is going to do it when he immediately runs into the flat, which creates outside leverage naturally for Sam Laporta on Lavonte David. Now, David did a good job. Within 5 yards, he did a great job to me at being physical inside 5 yards and undercutting some routes, at times getting safety up over top. Give credit to the pass protection as well. Frank Ragnow, I thought Frank Ragnow in Pass Pro really showed up, and this was one of the best examples. You could see him here immediately with Vita Vea, who's going to attack that left shoulder, but watch him here. So boom, there's Vita Vea, then he's going to hand it off to KO'd, and watch him drop that off and then find the stunt around the top and pick that up. That's a blitz, right? I mean, this is an opportunity to get home, but they handled it really well 5-on-5 here. But again, you kind of create that natural leverage for Sam Laporta on this play. You got a single high safety. He's not helping over top. And then again, they have kind of a similar concept that we've seen them run a lot, which is where you have basically the drag and then kind of the dig route, or in this case, maybe more of a post route underneath, where you kind of get the levels here, middle of the field, which can be attacked with zone coverage. We've seen that a ton. In this case, they man up. So then on the backside here, or really where they're going to throw it to, the front side of the formation, you're going to get the corner route and then the flat route, right? So this is a little bit more of that man beater because of the leverage that you're able to create here. So again, Goff holding middle field, look at the top of the route, bam, that was nasty, snapped that thing off, got really flat, made a big reception there. Here we're seeing 11 personnel. This is a 3rd down look, and this is actually what halted our drive. Notice they have an extra defensive back on the field because we're going 11 personnel, so that can change things. But in this case, they're going to be kind of simple and just bring a cover 1 blitz here. Now David may be hiding, like, oh, is he blitzing? Who's picking up tight end? It's going to be David here. So he's playing inside immediately, but he's still manning this thing up. But the real key is this. First off, KO'd is going to step in pass protection here because, again, they're blitzing, which is going to leave David Montgomery one-on-one with the defensive tackle. And even though he steps in and picks it up, that's just still a mismatch body type-wise. I mean, he's just going to be driven back, which is going to give up some pressure. You're going to see it here. Here comes the defensive tackle. He's free. Montgomery steps in and picks it up, and he does actually a pretty nice job, but he's just overmatched size-wise. But then here's the key to me. It's St. Brown matched up in the slot here. Again, they're playing at different depths. They're not going to switch this thing off. They're going to immediately switch releases. All right, so St. Brown, he's playing in the inside slot. This slot corner is playing inside leverage. So notice when they switch the release and he now gets outside, you're going to see how the cornerback doesn't race over top. He sits inside leverage. Now, to me, when I'm seeing this, I got to be thinking, and I don't know if this was like an option route or this was, hey, this is an angle route. This thing has to break inside. But if this is an option route, clearly breaking to the outside would have made sense because the cornerback is sitting inside. Even when he gives him that little jab, he sits inside on this play. So the outbreaking route could have made sense here for sure. And that's where Goff threw it. Goff could have been just simply throwing this thing away because he sat inside and it never opened up. So Goff was like, yeah, I don't like that. I'm just going to kind of loft it out there because I feel the pressure. I'm just going to throw it because it didn't actually open up instead of just taking a sack. But if it was an option route, I would say it would probably make more sense, I would think, to just break outside. There was like a little bit of a delay to it as well because when he gets to the top here, it's not as decisive. You can see the stab, and then again, he takes another jab, and then he breaks back inside. So I think he was trying to pry it open, but it never did. Regardless, though, that's what got us off the field in the first place. Examples of where you kind of missed Jahmyr Gibbs, all right, and it's really off the backside. So here's Gill, number 49, and he's going to run this thing down. Now, the Lions gave you a very similar look to what they've done a ton of, and I would say credit to the Buccaneers. What it set up for us is it set up this. I'll show you right here. It set up the fake toss, and then the ability to maybe throw back to the opposite side because their edge defenders and guys, look at their cornerback, they're all crashing downhill. So it set up play action. It set up the ability to hit the, kind of throwback screen. But in this case, that edge defender, when the tight end leaves, he's immediately just going to dive down, and you can see how fast he gets back there, where he basically shuts this play down. I mean, you're utilizing the tight end to lead block on this play. You actually don't block it up too bad on the front side. KO gets in front here. He seals it up. Decker gets to the second level. Laporte is leaving the way. He's going to crash onto that edge rusher before getting up to the second level, Shaq Barrett. So you actually have like a real legitimate lane here. But again, it's shut down behind the line as we just we weren't able to hit that hole fast enough, it seemed like, on this play. You can see it right here. And this is where I felt like if you had a guy like Gibbs, maybe this could have had a better opportunity just to break something, just because of the speed, the ability to get to the line with a little bit more acceleration. So I think he just missed that a little bit. Now, KO started to lose his block a little bit as this play went on, if we're being honest. Okay, we tried to seal that up, and then he started to lose it a little bit. And sometimes that was also the case, just losing blocks. But I thought that was just an example of like, oh, it would have been nice to have Jahmyr Gibbs on a play like that. In this game, I thought Goff did an excellent job of hitting windows in zone coverage. The anticipation that he was throwing with, tied along with the way that the receivers were running the routes, specifically Josh Reynolds, but also you could throw St. Brown in that, of course, Khalif Raymond. Like, they were putting on a show in terms of running these routes. But in this case, you're going to see the safety movement. So again, we talked about that based on kind of what we're in offensively. You can see we only have one tight end. They have more DBs on the field, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in this case, they're just going to go into a quarters look. And I think part of that as well, Ben Johnson does a really nice job of like, okay, if we come out in this look, right? If we give him a 2x2 here, boom, 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 they may go into a quarters look. Like, I think he has a really good sense of what tendencies are defensively. But here the safety's going to roll out. Now they're going to run an out route, then they're going to follow that with a dig right over top. But he's going to hit St. Brown on this dig route. On the backside here, again, they're going to stack it up. They're going to sit down to quick curl, and then they're going to run this thing vertically. So again, you could set up for kind of what they're in coverage-wise to hit different sides of the field. Goff, the anticipation here to hit this zone window. Also, the safety's not putting eyes on Goff as well because, again, you're playing this quarters look, so the safety's just kind of bracketing in the one vertical route to the side of the field. I think Goff is also staring at this outside corner, which, again, could have kind of pulled that outside corner out a little bit. I can't tell extremely well, but I think that may have been the case because the corner is usually going to try to sit on top of this. And you can see with the outbreaking route here, Goff is throwing this. Look at where St. Brown's at on his route. He's not even broke this thing off yet. So the detail of the route, the depth of the route has to be on point to try to put this in between the cornerback and the safety. And I think he may be looking here to kind of pull that cornerback out of the play a little bit. And as soon as the receiver starts to break, the cornerback starts to drop off. You're going to see it right here. So right there, as the receiver starts to break, Goff starts to throw, cornerback drifts out a little bit. I think he's pulling that cornerback back, but then you're just hitting that in a super tight window, kind of delivering that. It's also a really good catch. And we'll see some really good examples of this as we continue through. But one thing that St. Brown does really well, and you'll see it here, pushing towards the outside with his stem of this route, then getting the cornerback's vision onto the out route underneath before breaking back inside and settling himself down in front of the safety on display. He runs a lot of the dig routes and a lot of the zone looks. He has a great ability to push outside leverage and
then break back inside.
The timing within the Lions offense is crazy, and this is actually a play that I really liked. I know it's like just a very short game, but I really liked it because I remember watching back the Eagles game, and they did the same look defensively, and they didn't take like the easy reception. Like Hurts kind of just held onto the football, and then he threw it really late, and it was incomplete, and it's like that gets you behind the chains, and this is not a team to get behind the chains against. So in this case, again, offensively, they're going into that 2 tight end look, and you're going to see defensively, again, look at the personnel. They have 3 linebackers, so they're having to match that. Now, they're still going into the quarters look, but I think it can, again, limit what they want to show. So while you go empty, you stack here, you spread it out, but you're still playing with heavy personnel. So you're still getting that look, which means that, you know, you're not going to get a linebacker that's going to drop into a safety role. They're not going to do that. So it kind of limits things. But here's the thing that they can do still within this is that they can say, hey, maybe we want to blitz, or we can drop out some of these guys, and that's what they do here. So they drop out their edge defender who's going to play underneath. So they're going into quarters, usually have 3 underneath guys. They're actually going to bring 4 underneath guys out on this play. But here's the timing within this offense, and it was taking the easy read. It was getting a positive gain. The timing is unreal with this offense. Like, everything just matches up so well, and it's so fun to watch when you kind of slow it down, because if you watch here, just watch this. All right, so here the edge rusher is going to drop out. Goff is going to look that direction, so they take that away. Now, watch what's happening within this stack. So they're not manned up, but watch what's happening. First off, Khalif, watch how he releases. Boom, he stabs to the outside first and then starts to work his way back inside. Timing is key here, because the inside, or the guy that's on top of the stack that's on the ball, he's going to release Josh Reynolds and push Devin White up the field. But with that little outside stab, watch what it does. First off, this underneath zone linebacker that's, you know, the furthest guy into the flat on this side of the field, he's going to take his first steps out there. So now he's dropping out. Secondly, it's also going to take the vision of Devin White on this play to that seam vertically, because Khalif Raymond didn't immediately just drag the middle of the field where he could immediately like pass this thing off. No, instead, he kind of delayed it by taking the outside release, working his way then underneath. It delays it, so now the attention's here. And by the time he pushes up to him, now all of a sudden, the linebacker's drifting back. Secondly, Goff is also staring the opposite direction. So while the edge rusher drops out, this linebacker is also going to start to kind of float that way. And he's never looking underneath, because Goff is never looking underneath. And then as you see, look at the timing of this. When Goff pivots back, Khalif Raymond is sitting down in this zone hole, and it's boom, it's easy. It's a short pickup, but it's an easy pickup. I thought we'd see more of in this game was kind of the inside zone rushing. We didn't see it a ton. And I do think that there were times where, first off, the outside zone is huge, because when the Lions run that, they can set up the play action, they can set up the screen game. And you saw that with some of the screens they set up, because the defensive line, if you run an outside zone, has to work laterally. Overall, we didn't get a ton of these looks offensively. I thought we would do it more. Maybe they wanted to try to get a guy like Vita Vea on the move as well. That's very possible. I just thought we'd do it more. I think this thing was blocked up pretty well. Again, it wasn't a huge game, but it was blocked up pretty well. Frank Ragnow here one-on-one with Vea. He loses it a little bit towards the end, so I can understand that. I thought we'd maybe get more like double team looks trying to get in there. Here, though, I thought it was really good, first off, from Sam Laporta, because you can watch him every week in terms of the discipline that he plays with, man. Look, I mean, he just sits himself down. He plays with a low pad level, and he just does his job, man, working to seal this thing off. Like, he seems to just get better and better. You don't talk about these things with him. He wasn't known as a blocker, but man, you could just see that he's working. He's using a flexibility. He's taking that like, hey, we got to sit down, and he's bringing that to the table. He's not getting into a battle with these guys where he's outmatched. He is sitting down and trying to win that leverage battle. And then, of course, Josh Reynolds, it's not perfect, but he does enough here with the defensive back rolling down. He does enough to get his hands on him, and that was actually key, because as again, he would have brought that thing down. So in this case, they try to block it up and not just roll away from it, because they weren't running an outside run. Instead, it was an inside run. So they didn't want to, this would be blown up if they don't block this. So immediately on the play, Josh Reynolds is going to step in and get this block. And he did a nice job of just doing enough here, okay? But overall, I thought this was solid blocking. You get a nice little push. You get a nice little chunk on the play. This is what I think you can do with some of the outside zone fakes. So here, outside zone look. Watch the defensive line. Now, they're going to get upfield, but initially, their first steps are going to be lateral to match. You see how everybody works laterally, right? You can't just run straight because there's a guy shifting across your face. So immediately, defensive line's first steps are going to be lateral. That's the big thing to me as well with the outside zone, because again, it can set up the play fake. You also utilize Sam Laporta. We'll take a look. I'll pull it back a little bit here, but you utilize Sam Laporta in a similar look that we've done all game, and that's with that fast motion. So all of a sudden, I think as a linebacker, you're looking there like, okay, that could be where this thing is going. But then you get the play fake the opposite direction. So one, for the defensive line, they match laterally first, and by the time then they work to get upfield, yeah, you got a free guy through here, but that's because they're setting up a screen. By the time they get from lateral to go upfield, they realize, oh, the guy doesn't have the ball. Now their next step is, okay, now I got to try to get to the quarterback. And as you can see here for like number 90, he doesn't even know what to do on the play. Like, he wasn't even doing anything. And I think that's where the outside zone look can really set up the play fake. And if you watch, Ben Johnson doesn't just call plays. All right, I'll say that. Okay, look, there's a lot of things going on. I don't even know what's going on with Ben Johnson, but I will say this. He doesn't call plays. You'll see the same personnel looks. You'll see the same, alignments offensively, and then they'll run something off it. He gives you the same looks a lot of times, and he plays through that. And in this case, when you keep giving him that jet look, which pulls the linebackers, and then you give him the play fake look, watch number 90 rush and then get upfield, and he's not even really in the play. Also, watch their edge defender on this play. Watch him drop out. Watch Gill here. So he's matching the outside zone, sees the running back doesn't have it. Now he's thinking, okay, I got to drop back into coverage. And that sets up this screen look, and you're going to see the linebackers are pulled out of the play. Also watch this outside third corner, because again, what you're doing offensively, 2 tight ends, single back, you're getting a cover 3 look here defensively. So Jameson Williams pulls the outside cornerback out of the play as well.
Reason that outside corner actually follows Jameson is, 1, we know he has speed, but 2, it's because of the jet motion away. See, Sam Laporte is no longer on that side of the field, so there's no other threat. The only other threat would be Dave Montgomery, who already did the run fake, and he's just sitting out there in the flat. That would be your underneath zone or edge defender who's dropping out. So in this case, the corner has no other responsibility, so he's just saying, I'm going to go chase.
But what it was an extension of it, and it was still a big chunk. So we'll still take that. All right, that's a huge gain. Also, just make you miss an open field there. That was nice by David. I see you. I want to jump in here and talk a little bit about our partnership for this season with BetUS, a leading online betting platform offering a wide range of sports betting and casino games, from the most popular sports, basketball, baseball, of course, football, that's the time right now, all the way to esports. Well known for their security, reliability, and customer service, which I had a great experience with firsthand, them reaching out to me because they didn't want me to miss out on a deal once I signed up. And it's very easy to sign up. Use that top link in the description. You deposit at least $100, you can get 125% match. You click that link, it'll take you to a page where you click bet now, and in 3 pages you can be signed up with BetUS. There's also tons of different ways to bet with BetUS. Outside of casino games, if you want to go the sportsbook route, you can go to pre-game betting, whether that's over-unders, spreads. You can utilize prop bets, which we do shorts on now every week, some of the game props that I like for each upcoming Lions game, all the way to live betting and parlays, which are just a ton of fun, just to see what kind of crazy idea you can come up with. And there's tons of different little features in there which I really like for example, the props builder, where you can build out a prop with a specific player. Maybe you think Khalif Raymond's going to have a big day. You can build out a player prop for that player, whether that's receptions or yards, maybe it's touchdowns. Still have tons of different ongoing promotions available right now, whether you're a new customer or you're a existing customer that's just re-upping with BetUS. There's tons of different promotions that are available right now. My favorite parts of BetUS is their loyalty program. If you place wagers on BetUS, you can work your way up tiers on BetUS, earning different rewards such as bigger bonuses or welcome free play or free payouts. And utilize that top link in the description. I know a lot of you guys already bet during the NFL season, so if you want to follow along with the shorts that I make and maybe some of the bets that I like for the week, click that top link, sign up with BetUS. At very least, you don't even need to deposit money right away. You can just look around, just see what's kind of out there, just take a look at the website, but it's definitely worth doing, especially if you're already betting. Again, if you have any questions like customer service issues, they have an FAQ on their website that you can go to, or you can get into contact with them utilizing live chat, email, and phone support. So again, shout out to BetUS for supporting this channel, our partner for the NFL season, and let's get back to the video. Again, this is what I loved about Goff from Goff in this game, because when you did get into positions, if you were in a third down situation, yes, they would disguise some coverage and things like that. In this case, again, you're going 2 tight ends on this play. So the one thing that they could do is edge rushers, were they going to rush, were they going to drop out? In this case, you're going to see Shaq Barrett show slot, and then he's going to rush. But the other thing that they would do still is roll their safeties. Now, what that would mean is that this safety could play in the box, and again, we're going to attack this later, so trust me, they're going to set this thing up. But in this case, again, just watch the way that he takes the snap. Watch the way that he takes the snap. Now, actually, let's just point this out real quick. Or let's just point this out. Watch this snap, the way that he takes the snap. And here's why I'm showing this, because watch how the safeties react. So this safety's rolled down to the box. He's going to disguise this. He's going to drop out at the snap. This safety's going to roll over because they're going to go to Tampa 2. David's going to open up. So they're playing zone coverage. But notice the safety. He wants to show he's in the box, then sees Goff do his normal snap kind of cadence, or just, how he does it. And when he's seeing that, now he's like, okay, I can drop out. He saw this. Now he's looking to snap it. I'm going to leave. Now now I got in disguise, basically. That's what he's thinking on the play. But the Lions will attack that later. So, again, just want to showcase that. But here's the thing. So, they're going to bring 4 rushers. But I think immediately on this play, one, I think Goff immediately reads his safeties really quickly. Every time you watch him, he's very disciplined to do that. But in this case, immediately I think you see this linebacker open up. And when a linebacker opens like this and starts getting that kind of depth, I know I'm thinking Tampa 2. I don't know what he's thinking, but I know I'm thinking Tampa 2. Next off, as you look back to the right side of the field and you're thinking Tampa 2, you also see the safety dropping out. So now you're like, dang, this is definitely Tampa 2 coverage, which means that now he focuses on this side of the field and you get a similar look, the out route with the tight end versus kind of the dig route here for Josh Reynolds. Again, it's the timing for me. And we'll take a look at more examples with Josh Reynolds, but look at the timing here. So once again, make sure to release inside. Safety's dropping out, so he's going to run this dig route, and that's what he's going to hit. The linebacker's also looking the opposite direction, so he's not going to be able to help out in time because he's got to go find the other way. He's opening that way toward the running back side, but by the time he does, the ball's already out of his hands. Watch with Sam Laporta. As soon as Sam Laporta goes at the top of the route and he starts to break outside, he sees the safety dropped out. As soon as that happens, and again, I think he may have been watching this underneath defender, but the point is, as soon as he does that, Goff is starting to throw this football because as a cornerback, he's pushing up vertical, then he starts to break back inside. Cornerback then is going to drop out on the play. And once that happens, you're going to see he's going to drop out with Sam Laporta. The ball's out of his hands, hits a great zone window, and just leaves it up there for him to go sit down and make this play. Now, there was a little bit of pressure here from KO. We gave up a quarterback hit here, a little bit off the left guard on this play. You can see it. There's the win. But again, the anticipation is unreal, man, to fire this thing into that zone hole. Watch this detail. To me, this speaks to the detail of Josh Reynolds when we talk about route running. Again, we always talk about beating man coverage. This, to me, if he's doing what I'm thinking he's doing, this is unreal. To me, this is unreal if he's doing what I'm thinking he's doing. So, again, they're going into a quarters look defensively. Now, this is a third down. You can see it's a third down and long defensively. And, again, for the Lions here, they only have the one tight end on the field. You can get a lot more craftiness from their defense, but they're going into this quarters look against a 3-by-1 look. That's interesting, but that's what they're going to do. But the point is watch Josh Reynolds here in the slot. Man, this is nasty. Watch him here. So, I think he's reading this linebacker. Here's why. Watch him on this play. So the slot cornerback sitting inside, and watch him release here. So he releases outside, but he kind of walks it up on him. Now he's going to ultimately do an in-breaking route right here, and then we're going to push the seam, and we're going to set up that look right behind kind of the underneath zone. But you see him release towards the outside, and look at him here. I believe that he's reading Devin White on this play because Devin White is reading the inside receiver, St. Brown, who's running vertical. And once he does that, once he gets past him, Devin White leaves, lets that go, and he starts to look back underneath. But this is why it's key. Watch Josh Reynolds sink this thing up, man. This is nasty. Watch him here. So he's going to walk this up, watching Devin White. Devin White's watching the slot. As soon as Devin White's eyes go back down, right there, you see Josh Reynolds. As soon as Devin White says, okay, he's going vertical, I'm going to find the quarterback, immediately Josh Reynolds says, okay, now it's my turn to then break up field. And he's sitting inside leverage, so he's been walking outside. Now he's like, I got to get inside this corner, but now I can go because now the linebacker's not paying attention to me anymore. And you see it right here. Boom. All right, I'm going to get inside. Linebacker's not watching me, so he's not going to have the depth. Tied along with the timing of Sam Laporta, who's going to chip and then drag underneath here. So, yes, you're going to see the communication. Here goes that underneath zone linebacker, but they're going to run a little swing route, so he's got to deal with that because, as you're seeing, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is going to be rushing on this play. So they're losing. They don't have another guy underneath in zone. Outside, this linebacker is the furthest underneath zone here. So, because of that, he's going to take away the running back, and you can see the communication.
Also, the Lions are kind of just stifling the opportunity to potentially show you're going to blitz off the edge and then drop out. Why? Because of that chip, and he just basically funnels the edge defender inside. Even if he wanted to drop out in the zone, he can't get out there because our tight end is just shoving him back inside. It's like, hey, you want to disguise something cool? We're going to shove you inside. So now that underneath linebacker has to get outside because he's like, hold up, the edge rusher can't get out there. So now, again, it isolates that middle field of Devin White.
Which means that the drag route's going to be passed off to Devin White. So as soon as this thing goes vertical and he looks back underneath, automatically what comes into his field of vision? It's Sam Laporta. So he's forced to roll down on the play. He's forced to be pushed down right here and not continue to keep dropping back. Even if it would have made sense because it's third down, he does not. And again, the timing with Josh Reynolds to see that, then say, okay, now I got to get upfield. Boom, he's going to sit down on that. Now I can kind of float over the middle of the field. Now the ball, maybe a little bit behind him here, but again, Josh Reynolds, an excellent adjustment. And you can see Goff, the discipline by Goff. Even with the pressure, and he's flowing away from the pressure, watch his eyes never take off the middle of the field. He continues to look middle of the field. As the pressure comes in, he's still floating, watching middle of the field, pulling that, I believe, inside safety to St. Brown, who's running vertically. Then, last second, you see him shift, open up, and he lets that thing go. Eyes flip, finds Josh, and money catch. But man, The detail there is crazy. Utilized the jet motion with St. Brown on this play to become kind of a lead blocker in a sense, but he's a little bit more outside of the tackle box. Sometimes he just miss blocks. Sam Laporta doing his best to try to kind of seal this thing off. You can see Decker kind of pushes him into him. And again, he's doing his best to kind of stay inside the pads and drive him out of the play. It wasn't perfect, but I think it may have been enough. But the issue is, as you pull around the guard and also Brock Wright on this play, you can see Graham Glasgow picks up the edge defender. Laporta's trying to seal. So really, this thing has a chance. You could see it again here if David is picked up on this play, but we're unable to get a clean block there from Brock Wright. He basically just sneaks right around Brock Wright, and that's when it leads to nothing on the play. Here, another stack look offensively. They're going to go to a cover 6 look. All right, so again, they have more defensive backs on the field. They go to a cover 6 look, so you have your underneath zone and you have your deep safety on this side of the field playing the half of that field. But here's the big thing again, it's the route detail, and this is Khalif Raymond just being nasty on this one. You can see Jameson Williams immediately pushes outside, which in a way I think pulls that outside cornerback who's still playing the flat a little bit further outside, starts to get in the drift that direction, and then he releases vertical. So he's working away from Joe Tryon a little bit on this play as well, even though he's dropping into the flat. But notice Khalif Raymond's release here. It's very patient. He releases outside as well with this underneath, zone linebacker, because as Jameson pushes outside, doesn't immediately release vertical, so now the cornerback's going to match it initially. Then when he gets vertical, now he's letting that go, safety's going to pick him up. But then it gets to the point where now it's Khalif on this outside corner, and because he was already drifting that way, Khalif's going to lean into that as well. Khalif is then going to release outside under Jameson Williams' route here. So they're both going to release outside. He's going to kind of walk it out. He's creating a lot of space between the cornerback and this underneath zone line or edge rusher on the play. It's creating a lot of distance for Goff to hit that zone window. Then he pushes upfield and sits that thing down. You can see the window that he was able to create. So again, not a big chunk, but he's able to create a big window there for Goff to hit a little zone hole underneath and just get a positive gain. Still have, you can see, kind of a 3-on-3 look here on the outside in this little tunnel. First off, I think this one was a check at the line of scrimmage just because of what they were in, if I remember correctly. Again, Craig Reynolds is lined out wide, this time on a safety, so you're thinking man coverage. But I believe this one was a check because notice, no deep safeties, and also their linebackers are inside the box. One of them's inside the A-gap. So in this case, we saw them try to do it to us, where we had both of our linebackers showing that A-gap pressure, and then they tried to throw the tunnel, but it was knocked away, and it probably would have been a first down because you're asking them to get so far outside, especially when it's man and not zone coverage, because if that's the case, then where are these linebackers dropping to? If anything, they're just going to drop into the middle and open up in zone coverage. They're not really getting outside the numbers. So if you're looking at how they're matched up and you're saying this is probably man coverage, and you can see the safety playing way off of the running back, you're not thinking this is zone. And because of that, if this is man coverage, again, like us, we ran zone, so our linebackers immediately jumped outside. In this case, anything, they're just going to drop underneath. They're not going to really they're not going really anywhere outside of the tackle box. So you are getting a 3-on-3, but that's all you're getting is a 3-on-3. And the linebacker's stuck inside the box, and there's no safety over top. So I think this was a check at the line. You're going to see again, Sewell tries to sell it, and then he gets upfield. Now, they did a nice job, specifically the edge defender here. He got his hands on it, but you could see that it's just created by the numbers here because they're going to bring a blitz on this play. And I believe, if I remember right, to a cover 0 look, you just don't have any other help. So it's a 3-on-3, but you're setting up blockers, and everybody's rushing. And I think this was a check at the line, but again, just making a big play out of what you see pre-snap. I think that's what Goff got into, and if he did, another great job by him decision making. I thought this run was a little bit creative, to be honest with you, because number one, we've seen our tight ends line up like in line, and then they'll roll across, they'll do the jet motion, they'll lead block, but in this case, they did it a little bit different. They utilized a tight end to still lead block, but they created a bunch look. Now, I know you can't see it here, so instead of bringing Laporta from an inline spot where all the linebackers are going to see it, they're all going to be like, okay, he's coming across, we can shift with that. Instead of doing that, they bring him from a bunch of look. So now all of a sudden, he's coming from so far away that the linebackers see it, but he's still doing the jet motion lead block just from a completely different alignment, which I think forces the linebackers to be a little bit late on this play. Secondly, with that creativity, as they're all watching and they're focused, they're seeing the tight end on display, look at what they do with Marvin Jones Jr. He's going to come in and pin down block here. So the edge defender, as you're going to see here, he's going to drop out because it's a jet motion, but it's a little bit different because he's not in line. He's from that slot look. So he's going to drop out there, probably in the coverage. But also on top of that, when he drops out, Marvin is going to step through as he drops out on this play, and he's going to go pin down this linebacker who's not shifting. He's sitting in the box. He's going to go pin that block down right there. Bam. And now they have something set up. Now, again, KO kind of loses the block here, and you would like to, I think, see this get blocked up better because the defensive tackle's inside shade, so you would like to see him be able to maybe hold this a little bit better. I think the initial get get off was fine. He just kind of lost it as the block went on there with Frank Ragnow. Okay, so it almost looked like more of a blitz, and maybe this was because of the motion, but instead of the edge rusher just crashing down, they had a further way to go because the edge jumps inside, which means the safety's going to rush, and he actually still gets back into this play, but we were able to get enough for the first down, and you get it just a different way. Okay, so you're going to a different personnel look. You're only going 0 running backs and 1 tight end, so it's kind of similar, but you're just putting Khalif as your running back, and I think they were trying to set up this because they actually took the 52-yard field goal and they missed it. I think they were trying to just get a shorter field goal attempt on a 3rd and long. Defensively, you're going to see here, they're going to roll down this safety, and he's actually going to go match up here with Khalif Raymond. Sam Laporta, this is going to be the backside look. If anything, I think it's just a tick late, and I would say this is where you would say with the timing it was just off because there's a little bit pressure that yes gets through here, but it's kind of resealed up a little bit by Penei Sewell. But if you notice, I think maybe footwork wise, you're watching him, it looks fine here. Khalif comes out, safety drives down. Here's that underneath linebacker. Goff doesn't like it. Seemingly he feels kind of that pressure, and Khalif goes and he sits down. He wanted to maybe break through the middle on this play, but it's zone coverage, so he kind of sits himself down as Levante David is going to drop off this drag route, so he kind of just sits himself down in the zone. So I can understand why he didn't throw this pass, but I would say then the issue would probably be a little bit where the footwork got a little bit seemingly messed up because he felt that pressure and maybe he was like, okay, maybe I'm going to have to take off. But then by the time he was resealed up and he was able to sit back down, it felt like the pass was just a little bit late. And he was trying to hit his zone window, probably behind this linebacker, and I think that's where things got just a tad late on the play. Still a catchable ball, but it was broken up, good coverage. A pretty play, okay? We got to see this one on the live broadcast. They showed the replay of it, and I'm glad they did because this thing was pretty, man. So they go into a cover 3 look, and I think it's less about maybe just seeing what coverage that they're in defensively. I just told you what they were in, but the point is the way that he's setting this thing up. So he starts to the right side of the field. He starts there first, and you're going to see they're going to run this little hitch route. The linebackers are going to flow that way, but it's really just the progression of this is what I think you love. Being able to get through the full field. Pass protection is really solid here. Graham Glasgow working one-on-one. It's pretty solid across the board with this 4-man rush, but he starts underneath, and then he comes back to the linebacker position. But notice right here was the big thing to me. 4 yards. This would have been a first down if, say, he just came back and hit Josh Reynolds. Seeing the off-ball linebacker in the middle of the field and saying, okay, I'm going to fire this quick curl route. Instead, when he sees that linebacker, he utilizes that, understanding that they're in zone coverage based on how they're dropping out on this play. So instead of saying, I'm going to try to hit that first look, I'm actually going to come back and hit this dig route. And I think, again, it comes back to timing because when he sees that middle field linebacker right here, he could have thrown this route, receiver sits down. But what he does is, instead of throwing this, he utilizes that to move the linebacker, realizing they're in zone coverage. So then he comes back across here to Josh Reynolds, gives him that quick peek, and then as he's doing that, you can see, look at the platform that he throws off of here, right? He's not resetting his feet to throw this ball. He's opened up, sidearm, flipping it right over the defensive tackle. It's a little bit different, right? Because instead of like dropping back, flipping your feet to look at Josh Reynolds, and then trying to flip back and hit this dig route to stay on time with it, but also move this linebacker. When he comes back here to Josh Reynolds, instead of dropping and opening his hips back and throwing that thing over the middle where the linebacker could just sit there, he stays with eyes there, opens himself up, sidearm. That was just nasty. The timing there is unreal. And then there was the drive where the Lions just started to try to get Jameson Williams, I thought, kind of one-on-one, get him on the outside. And there were different ways where they tried to do this. We'll take a look at another play where they went super heavy personnel, and they basically just got them into man and just said, let's just get a one-on-one with this guy. We're going to make them simplify. We're going to simplify things offensively by what we put out on the field. And we talked about that coming in. This is not exactly that example, but you're seeing, again, they're getting this one-on-one with Jameson. So they have me out here wide. I think they go into what looks like quarters on this play. Could have been a cover 3. St. Brown is actually going to pin down and lay this block, and Goff's just going to roll out of it. So he gets out of the pocket here, basically isolates a one-on-one in this backside.
And what you notice here is with the safety, who's actually going to come down into the box and then take away, kind of the tight end that's going across the middle of the field. With that 2-pull run fake, that may have actually pulled him down into the box initially. And because of that, what you're going to watch here with Josh Reynolds, when he goes vertical and then breaks this corner route, the safety now has basically the entire field to cover because the other safety is getting pulled down. So now he's trying to protect that his inside leverage on the play where Josh Reynolds starts to drift to. And then when he breaks back outside, now all of a sudden the outside cornerback has to drop a little bit off of Jameson Williams because now there's leverage there. So they almost create a full field for Josh Reynolds to attack by utilizing the play fake to pull the other safety down, which ultimately kind of dominoes into that cornerback across from Jamo is forced late to kind of step back and give some depth rather than just focusing on Jameson Williams on this play.
Jameson Williams using that speed, releasing towards the outside and then just sitting down. You roll out Goff so you create the one-on-one. But notice I like with Josh Reynolds here as the outside slot to make sure that he, again, an inside cornerback, make sure that he releases inside of that cornerback, which pulls him inside because he's the outermost underneath zone defender. So to pull him inside by making sure that you get inside of that slot cornerback, I think was key on this play, because he goes inside, and watch Jameson Williams, he does basically the opposite. He releases towards the outside, so they go like this, and when he releases towards the inside, he's going to step in with that. St. Brown sets in the block, so the cornerback is like, okay, once he sees him stepping in the block, he went inside first, and he steps in the block. He's like, okay, I don't need that, now I can get out here to the flat. But with Jameson then getting to the outside, you're just again creating.
Right here's where we can pause it. Look at the outside corner. So as Josh Reynolds gets vertical and then starts to push outside just for a jab step and then gets back upfield, then he breaks back outside, that outside corner, look at him. He starts to drift back because he's like, okay, he doesn't have outside leverage. So if this thing does break outside, I have to be in a position where I can cover that up and not give up the shot play. So it isolates Jamo.
To me, I think this was just a sweet design. They bring a blitz on the play, but the fact that this kind of thing works is unreal to me. Lions do a thing that they do a ton of, which is they run the seam and then they run the deep dig route. They're going to leave Sam Laporta in the block, which he does a really nice job blocking Shaq Barrett on this play. He does enough here, but this is a 3rd down and 11. Now notice what they do on this play, because this is pretty slick to me. So the safety is going to kind of roll down and step underneath, but instead of like rolling down all the way into underneath zone coverage and covering up this crossing route from Khalif Raymond, he's going to sit basically on the depth, on the sticks, and take away this seam route. Now here's the key to this. If he does it, say we're in cover 3 and he rolls down and he's like, okay, I'm going to go down into the box, and he takes away this crossing route. Now all of a sudden, what do you get? We have a deep safety that's going to roll over top, and you're going to have a dig route underneath. So all that's going to turn into is this outside corner is going to pass it off to nobody, because the deep safety then is going to have to deal with the vertical route, and then this outside corner on the opposite side is going to have to try to get in there and fill that up before that underneath route can be completed. So you're going to have that issue going on. So he sits deep on the play and takes away this vertical route. The safety still rolls over top. Safety still rolls over top to take that away, but he's able to then stand down underneath and take away the dig route on this play. So again, this would have been open, I believe, if you're watching this play, if that safety rolls down, but he does not. He stays on the sticks. So now you lose an underneath defender because you're also blitzing. So you have an edge rusher dropping out, and you have your underneath slot corner. So all these guys are taken out of the play. Then you run a crossing route with Khalif Raymond. Now here's where it's slick to me. Craig Reynolds is going to step in and not really block, but sort of, but he doesn't like just standing there to block, and he's not doing a play fake. He immediately, as you're going to see on this play, he immediately rushes to the open lane. So if you watch it over here, they're going to blitz off this left side. He immediately rushes to the right side open lane. And you're going to see with the slot underneath defender, do you see what the communication here from the outside corner? He sees Khalif Raymond dragging the middle of the field. So he's saying, hey, you got to take that guy underneath. He's not talking to the safety. He's talking to the underneath defender like, hey, you got to take that guy. But Craig Reynolds seemingly takes the attention of him because he's the only underneath defender on this side of the field, and there's only one over here. So with Craig Reynolds rushing out there, seemingly grabs his attention, as well as Sam Laporta being on that side of the field, but Sam Laporta's not even going out for a route. It could be like a chip delay, so there's that as well. But Craig Reynolds could have taken some of that attention, so that's where his eyes go. Then underneath over here, you're going to see Craig Reynolds is also, I believe, going to take the attention of this opposite side edge rusher, because when he runs through, now he leaks back out the opposite side way, and he gets into the coverage or the passing lane of this edge defender. So the edge defender has to stop pursuing because he's got to sit down and deal with Craig Reynolds. So now you have one underneath defender against Khalif Raymond, and Khalif Raymond doesn't drag through into his eyesight. He sits himself down in the middle of the field. Now all of these guys are pulled deep underneath, and he just sits down and picks up 11 yards exactly in a first down. Like, I don't even know how that's supposed to work, but it worked, and it was great. Now here's a way, like I talked about, isolating one-on-ones, that the Lions were able to do it. They were able to isolate a one-on-one in this play, and to me, it's by personnel. You put 6 offensive linemen, you put 2 tight ends, one is lined up here, you get man coverage defensively. Personnel-wise, they're trying to match it up. They go 4 defensive backs, and they also man up on this play. And to me, it was just that simple. You do the run fake, as you see here.
Because the Lions go out in a package of having an extra offensive lineman on the field and a tight end that's in line, they're going to naturally pull a safety into the box. So whether this is cover 3 or cover 1, it doesn't really matter. You're isolated one-on-one on the outside.
And you're going to have Jameson try to attack vertically on Dean, these long physical corners. We talked about that coming in. It was like, hey, can he get off the line of scrimmage, right? That's the key to me, was just, can he get off the line of scrimmage? And in this case, being physical with him, trying to force him to the sideline, and the pressure gets through. KO kind of loses his block here, and Goff leaves it up there, leaves it short with the pressure in his face. You could see it. He was trying to hold back to this middle right side, then flip open and fire this thing back the opposite way, which is just crafty to me, because they know that it's his threat, right? His speed. So this cornerback wants to get physical, sit on top, doesn't want to let him get deep. He knows it's a one-on-one opportunity. So Jameson just pushes upfield, and watch the ability to sink at the top of the route. Just slam on the brakes. Watch this. bop, just slam on the brakes. That was something coming out of Bama we've talked about, we knew about. Antoine Randall Ellis said it. The ability to just sit down at the top of the route immediately is unreal for a guy that's that fast. And just bop, sit down. If you watch Jameson on this play, he slowly works himself on top of the cornerback. If you watch here, he's kind of getting pressed towards the sideline, but his speed's a problem. So slowly, you can see him fighting through kind of the arm battle there of the cornerback, and he starts to work his way on top. And as soon as he does that, the cornerback's now looking forward. Now he feels like he's trailing on the play, so he's giving everything just to keep on top here, and then that's exactly when Jameson slams on the brakes. It was a beautiful route. Pass was a little bit underthrown. And setting this up the entire time, telling you, hey, watch the way that Jared Goff takes a snap, okay? We've seen the sugar huddles where the Lions break the huddle immediately, run up to the line, snap the ball, and it's like, okay, we're off to the races, we're going. This one's a little bit different, but it comes back to how Goff takes a snap. He shows us every week, and every week we feel like we get a little trick play. Now, this week, it didn't feel like maybe we had that trick play, right? I would call this that trick play. Here's why. Watch how Goff takes a snap. So what do we know about this team? Number one, they like to roll their safeties. We know they like to roll their safeties. Lions go 11 personnel. They like to move their safeties around a lot. Here's what we get. Lions bunch it up on one side. They go 3 by 1 on this play. Defense is going to match with cover 3. Watch what they do here. This is so darn slick. I absolutely love it. It's not like they rush out there and immediately snap it. But watch how Goff plays this, okay? Up there, he gets out there to take the snap out of the shotgun, and you're going to see one safety's rolling down into the box, showing like, oh, I'm underneath on this play. This safety's kind of rolling to one side of the field. So they're trying to give you kind of different looks on this play, like, okay, who's going to go deep, who's going to roll out. And what they're going to do is they're actually going to utilize Neal, their safety, to drop out and play the deep safety alignment. Winfield is going to roll down post-snap. So they're going to shift safeties post-snap. We know that they like to do that. So here's what the Lions did. They put Jameson Williams on the line of scrimmage right here. You can see Goff isn't rushing up to just hurry and snap this thing. Instead, here's what he does. And this is actually not the best way to put it, so I'm going to show it this way, and then I'll come back to it. Here's what he does. Watch him here. He doesn't do his normal like way to snap the football. He just immediately walks up there, and Frank Ragnow just snaps the football. And if you watch defensively, there's a lot of guys that didn't even move. Watch this. Never put his hands out, didn't do his like cadence, didn't stand up there and wait. He just got up there and the ball was immediately snapped. As soon as Frank Ragnow goes down, he just snaps it. Now look at where the defense is. Look where the defense is. This safety's communicating, oh, I'm going to show him a roll down. This guy's deep. No, hold up. We're going to actually flip that at the snap. That's great and all, but look at this. No one's even aware. This guy isn't even looking. This cornerback is not even looking at the play. That's how slick this was. The Lions took advantage of all the movement you want to do, and we're going to keep showing it like, oh, Goff snaps it like this. He takes the snap like this, and now we're not even going to do any of that. We're going to cut all that out. He's just going to immediately get the ball. This is why this is a problem. This is why it's a problem. It's not just Jameson's speed. Now they have to roll safeties back. So now they're trying to roll back. Watch their safeties. This safety's trying to drive down. This one's got to get over top. That's where the issue comes into play because now he's a step behind on the route. We'll take a look from this angle. It's going to be the deep middle safety. Now here's the thing. So St. Brown's going to stack up the stem of the route right behind Jameson Williams. He's going to run that thing right behind Jameson Williams. So really the key comes down to the outside cornerback, reading what that outside corner does because in the cover 3, we know he has the outside third. So the question becomes, when the top receiver, the receiver on the ball goes vertical, is he going to take that or is he going to drop underneath to take away this out route? And what they did is, as you're going to see, they stacked up both St. Brown and Jameson Williams throughout the stem of this route. So they're just trailing each other. We've seen them do this a lot with like tight ends or something. But here's the underneath one. So this takes away the underneath zone defender. So now he's out of the play. So you can't use that guy to take away one of these two routes. So now it's 2-on-2. This safety's late. He's chasing. He already doesn't have leverage on the play. Now he's also trying to race to get back into the play. And then here's the key because Jameson's long speed to just open it up. Watch him on this play. Jameson breaks this thing inside. Watch where he's pushing. He's pushing inside towards the safety. So he's pushing this way. Cornerback sees that, probably out of his peripheral vision, and he sees the out route coming. He's like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. He's going your direction. You take that. So right there, boom, he breaks down. As soon as Goff sees that and he sees him sit, now immediately he's like, okay, now I got the shot because now he has leverage to the outside. And the safety's trying to catch back up. And as soon as you're going to see the cornerback kind of drop off, Jameson then breaks back to the pylon. So he's pushing inside, and bam, I'm breaking back to the pylon. Now I have leverage on the play. And now it's just about getting the ball up there. And you could see it would have been easier to hit this towards the pylon. He had to flip around a little bit, track the ball, which was very impressive because if you watch on this play, the ability to find it, right? So right here he finds it. And then he's like, okay, there's the ball. Now I got to flip around and adjust my body to actually make this grab. The adjustment and he's in a trail position, so the safety can't look back. The safety can't look back to the ball on this play because of the fact that he's trailing. And if you're watching here, when he's pushing inside, he opens it up to a different speed. All right, there's notches to it, right? Watch his strides, push, and then he's just striding away from him. So as he's pushing inside, and the safety's like, okay, I got it, and then he starts to stride away. Now this guy's in the dead sprint, like, hold up, this guy's running away from me, and that's why he can't turn around and find the ball. So then it's just about putting it up there. And it was about as good as it gets. But the snap was so cool to me. Just to see him walk out there and snap it, you know, I mean, it was like that, just that little thing made this thing, really a lot of this happen. Here we get a cover 6 look. Again, your typical play action, and if you watch on this play, we'll see the play action right here. They utilize the pulling lineman as usual. They're also showing the run to the outside. So again, the first steps by the defensive line is not going to be immediately upfield. It's going to be matching laterally. So they match laterally, then they can get upfield on the play. They pull the lineman around. They go into a cover 6 look, and notice what you get on this play. So one, you have St. Brown here in the slot, but you want to stay on top of that guy. Okay, we know that. But the key is this: as Goff does the play action we saw last week when he recognized the blitzer, watch what he can see here on this play fake. Watch this safety. You see how he has his back turned, he's run the other way. We do this too. That means that he's on that outside half. He's that safety playing that half of the field. That's a cover 2 tell. Now when Goff does the play fake and he sees his back turn, St. Brown is also going to push that way, just again creating space. That way when he breaks this thing back inside, he's got room to throw it. They're also going to run a little chip curl underneath right here, which is going to pull this linebacker down. But Goff isn't going to look that way initially. Again, the discipline, he's going to watch the quarter side of the field, hold this safety, because if anything, the only guy that can mess this thing up, because St. Brown's running towards the safety, he's going to keep pulling him that way, and then he's going to break back inside. Only thing that would mess this up is this guy, that guy, because if he's watching that opposite side and that safety leaves off, he could be the guy to get into this play. But Jameson pushes outside. Right here is where he could break off it, but because Goff is staying disciplined to look that way, steps up, wide open zone hole hitter to St. Brown. Who else does this? I mean, like who else does these things? These things are unreal for me to even think of, right? So they're going into that quarters look again. Look at what the Lions do offensively. It's same as earlier. They're going spread. They're going empty on the play. Now, their personnel, 1 tight end, 2 tight end back on the play. They only have 2 receivers actually on the play. So personnel-wise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 front, 7 players. 4 defensive backs. So again, you're putting those guys into the mix. Now, who thinks of this? This is what I got. Who thinks of doing things like this? Okay, yeah, you want to drop out that 4th guy? We're going to do this. We're going to take a step back with Josh Reynolds. Watch Josh. He's going to take a step back and block. Now, he's going to kind of swipe you to the side, and he's going to work upfield. But who else does things like this? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So they run a stick nod here with the tight end, which is going to pull the linebacker out of the play. Boom, out, and then he's going to break back upfield, which forces him to get depth. The reason that this works is because of Josh Reynolds' route. They go vertical here, and then I think on the top, yeah, they run the out route, which is going to pull this outside player. But the key is, and again, Goff is looking this direction. He's going to pull that outside linebacker, so he's creating that space. But also the key is initially he's looking towards the seam here, where they're going to run the stick nod, so the linebacker is immediately getting depth. Then he sees that happen. He's dropping with it. Now you got a one-on-one with an edge rusher. But watch how Josh runs this. He's not going out there running the curl. He steps back, blocks basically, just does like a little chip on this play. Then he's going to release, so now he's delayed, which means that everybody's got depth. No one's paying attention to this guy. Okay, he's already getting pulled vertically, so now the middle of the field would be open, but he's then going to leak back towards the outside and just sit himself down and then break back towards the inside, just creating even more of a window. Because he leaks back outside, and he's pulling that edge rusher, pulling him, like, look, you're the outside underneath defender. You have to follow me out here. I'm going to keep pulling you on this play. Then I'm going to sit back in and break it down. So that way, this backside linebacker, even though I looked it off, by the time I get back, he's got way too much ground to fill. And that, to me, as little as that is, who else is doing that? I mean, who's doing that for? Show me somebody that's doing stuff like that. It's crazy. Even think to do something like that. And then here again, you get another cover 3 look, and I thought this was one of the biggest throws just because of the accuracy of the game. He put it on him. They drop onto cover 3. Both off-ball linebackers drop out. But again, just the route detail. You know, you kind of set a pick play here with Josh Reynolds. Watch him just slow himself down at the top of that route to allow St. Brown to gain a little bit of extra room on this play. And it also times up with Goff, back foot, lets that thing go. But again, it's like the little just, you know, we're just going to create a little rub route, right? He's inside. I'm going to kind of walk into that. We're going to stack up. He's going to release outside. He's going to release inside. So we're going to kind of stack up our stem of this route. But again, then he's going to stop himself at the top of it, which is going to halt him. So while St. Brown is breaking to get back outside, he's going to be stopped because now Josh Reynolds sits himself down basically right in the way. But he doesn't get called for a flag because it's real subtle. And then again, the ball, this one had to be money, but he got the step on him and he was able to deliver that. St. Brown's not the fastest guy out of the break, but what he does really well is he's able to get flat. He's able to get flat. That's the thing. He can easily just get flat right back to the line. So he's able to get that depth. So if he gets a step, it's game over. It's basically game over. And then I had to put Sam Laporta's route because, again, while it wasn't the best day, to me, this thing was nasty. And again, we kept going back to him. David made some good plays. Saw one pass a little bit behind him on kind of like a wheel route. But here, watch what they're doing. Inside leverage, inside leverage. Why? You're going cover one, but kind of like with a robber on this play. This safety's going to bracket in at the bottom of the field here. So they're taking this guy completely away. They're going to man up the back. But these two guys are sitting inside leverage of this bunch. So what they're going to do is they're just basically saying, you can't let them get inside because this safety is going to sit over top here. He's taking away the outside. So they want this thing forced outside. They're saying these two inside guys can't let it get outside. And what does Laporta do? Fights right through it. He's sitting inside. Watch him cross his face right there, a little basketball cross. Now he's fighting. He uses ready hands, but David is sticking in that hip pocket. But watch him at the top of this route. Watch this. Pushes into his body. Watch him right here. Boom. Right into his body, right into his chest, and that gets the separation. Physicality right at the top of the route. He's having to work for it, but then right there at the top, gets right into his chest, leans off of it, and creates that space. And that was just a good win, just to find a different way for him to win. Goff stands in again on this play, makes a good pass. I mean, that's just kind of normal at this point. In the passing game, it wasn't all perfect, but man, there was a lot of good. The timing, the detail, the ability to attack zone, Ben Johnson getting them to simplify looks, just a lot of that stuff, man. And again, this made me think of the Jags game when we scored 40 last year and we passed the ball a ton, and it was like, hold up, we're actually like able to pass the ball a ton of times and win that way. But this was even more impressive because you're on the road and you're playing a very good coverage unit. I think it's one of the best in football, and you're doing it with KO at left guard, which, he did fine. I think it was really good in there from the offensive line. But the point is, you were able to dice it up with no run game against a very good secondary. Give credit to Ben, give credit to Goff, give credit to receivers, and the O-line stepping up and the running backs blocking. A lot of good across the board. With that being said, let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching. And I want to give a shout out to BetUS. Use that top link in the description or go to betus.com/DoseOfDion. If you deposit at least $100, you get a 125% match. We're partnered with them through the football season, so definitely check it out, especially if you're already doing sports betting. As I said, we also upload kind of the props every single week, so the ones that I like. So if you want to take a look at that, maybe you play some bets, send them over to me. Let me know how you do. It's really cool. So again, shout out to BetUS. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And with that, I'm out.